Thanks, Chris. And to break down all things ASX and Wall Street related, Chief Investment Officer Scott Phillips from Motley. Scott, good evening. Now, firstly, our best trading day in 3 weeks.
Tomo, it was, and we'll take it, 1.78%, call that 1.8% among friends for the All Ords, slightly less for the ASX 200, but a really good result. Every single sector in the green. Even among the losers, it was hard to find anything that was down significantly today. A lot of optimism back into the market, some sense, leading from Wall Street, and a bit of good news here at home. Again, you don't never want to make predictions, but optimism seems to at least have fought its way back into the contest.
Scott, we heard from Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe today on inflation, productivity and the future of money. What did he have to say?
This was a fascinating speech, Tomo, because for the first time, the RBA, I think the first time anyway, the RBA admitted that it had a role to play in the current inflation issues we're having right now. Of course, dropping interest rates to 0.1%, leaving them there for such a long time, did stoke some of those inflationary pressures. Governor Lowe saying, I think he's probably fair enough too, look, at the time we had expectations, forecasts of a dire economic output, and of course, potentially tens of thousands of lives lost to the COVID pandemic. So in those circumstances, they did what they felt they had to, probably the right thing to do. They also talked about inflation. They've said for a long time 2 to 3% is their target band. But Governor Lowe backpedaling just slightly, saying, look, we may not be there immediately. We'll take our time. And many in the market suggesting maybe that might be the first sign the Reserve Bank won't go quite so hard on rates. As long as the direction is right, we may not see the sorts of increases that have been predicted as recently as yesterday.
OK, now all this while the RBA will be the subject of an independent review. Is this a sign from the federal government that it's lost faith?
I think a little bit. I kind of feel like the government didn't have much choice, and whether it was the current government or the former government, given the inflationary circumstances right now, given that interest rates are one of the primary tools for controlling inflation, they probably had to be seen to do something, to at least make sure everything has been done and is being done the right way, to basically make sure the RBA is making the right sorts of decisions at the right time. Not many people think the RBA got it right. They probably did keep rates too low for too long and then were caught napping, had to increase rates pretty quickly. So time again, they would have done things differently. I think for what it's worth, the RBA is doing a pretty good job, but it never hurts to have another review just to make sure there are some improvements that can be made.
Westpac has raised all of its fixed home loan rates. Is this one of the big four going rogue?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think what you'll find is these guys are the precursor to the others. The simple reality is rates are going to be higher well into late this year, early next year. Those fixed rates were based on the fact that they thought rates would be lower for longer. That's simply not going to be the case. We've seen 2 or 3 rounds of increases. I dare say there'll be more to come, firstly from the other banks as they catch up, but this won't be the last one from Westpac or the others.
Scott, finally, how are the US futures looking?
I can finish with some good news, Tomo. Just the very barest of good news, but we'll take it. Early futures trading has the US S&P 500 up 0.1%, but that's a positive number. That's a green number, so we're going to take it.
We love those positives. Scott Phillips, thank you.
Thanks, Tomo.